at the time, and her sister and my younger brother were calling me asking if they could come on our first date.
We dated for a long time with really no intention. We were just dating. The engagement is awkward. It's kind of like not waste time in a sense, oh, you're going to regret it, because you shouldn't regret it, but you are wasting time in the midst of that if you know this is not the person I'm supposed to be with.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things
with Shawn and Andrew,
a podcast all about couples and the things they go through.
We have a very special guest joining us today, Sadie Robertson and her newly beloved husband, Christian Huff.
Yes, if you don't know about Sadie, Sadie is from Duck Dynasty, where she originated. She went on to be the runner-up of Dancing with the Stars season 19. She has her own company, Live Original. She goes on tour. She is New York Times bestselling author. I mean, you could go on and on and on.
She's great. And her husband, Christian, is also fantastic. We're happy to be introducing him to you all. If you guys want to find out more about Christian and Sadie, their information is in the show notes down below. But today we talk about a lot of topics, including young love. They got married when she was 22 and he was 21. We talk about what a short engagement looks like, as well as a post that Sadie recently made that was trying to help the brides affected by all the craziness going on, and it went viral. A lot of fun things happening.
Yes, we absolutely love them. But before we get started, please, if you haven't yet, press that subscribe button.
And give the show a rating on whatever platform you're listening to.
So, without further ado,
Sadie and Christian. A lot's happened since we last talked, Sadie.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. A lot has happened. I don't think Christian was quite in the picture yet. So
I don't think he was. Congratulations on everything.
Thank y'all. I'm in the picture now.
How is the quarantine life going?
Oh, man. Well, luckily, nobody over here that we're close to has gotten sick. So that's been such a blessing. And we happen to be able to be with our family. So we've had a pretty good quarantine. I can't lie. We've been playing a lot of games, a lot of spicy Uno. I don't know if y'all played that, but that is...
Yes. Oh, wait. We played spicy Uno before. Carshell.
Spicy Uno?
Wait, Sadie, did you learn this from Carshell?
Did I? No.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about it.
Funny. She got us hooked on it.
That's so funny.
It's
no,
so
we
fun.
love spicy Uno. We played so much.
Lots of tennis.
Lots of ping
Basketball.
pong. We're very competitive against each other. So yeah, we've had fun. We've worn each other out, but had fun.
I am curious, though, newlyweds. Everyone keeps joking that the quarantine is going to take a toll on marriages. How is it spending every waking second together?
What a bleak thing to say,
I don't
Shawn.
mean in a
What
bleak
are you
way.
saying?
People keep joking
What
about
the
it.
heck?
I gotta say, it has actually been so fun for us, and we are newlyweds, so you know it might be different for some people. But yesterday, my Christian went and worked out outside with it was at my cousin's house because we live right beside each other, and he was gone for 2 hours, and I was like, man, I really miss him. And I walked over there, and I was like, hey, he's like, Sadie, it was 2 hours. We've literally spent every second together. I'm like, yeah, that's the problem. We spent every second together. I missed you. So it's
Oh my gosh. Hey, so we were watching one of your Instagram videos, Sadie. Christian, I got to say, the singing voice could use some work. But Sadie,
Andrew Dean.
Sadie, your push-ups, we might need to practice those a little bit more.
Oh dear, let me tell you, that was alarming. I know.
The only thing worse than my singing, though, is definitely my dancing. So
We have that in common.
ferocious.
I am curious, which of you wins more of the ping pong matches?
Oh man, that's a touchy subject right now. So, you know, we've been getting really into ping pong. I mean, I've never been one to sweat when I play ping pong until now. We get so into it. But okay, so we were on a pretty good track record. It was he would win when I won, he would win when I would win. And then yesterday, I just couldn't win. He just whooped me 3 times, and I'm still kind of waking up, coming off of that, you know.
Yeah, it was funny.
Trying to brush it off.
She was wearing like a hoodie, and I was like, if we're playing ping pong, you're not gonna want to be wearing a hoodie. And she was like, I'll be fine. It won't be that hot. And then after the first game, she had to take it off to wear her shirt. She was pathetic.
I still can't play ping pong with my husband. You're pretty good. And I can't figure out how to hit the ball.
Well, I had to.
I can't keep it on the table.
Ping
That's
pong
the
is
issue.
like the favorite activity in NFL locker rooms, and so I've really had to work on my game just to be able to walk in there
Just to hang with the guys.
Yeah, it's
So
hard.
fun.
Like Christian's really good. Guys can do like, I don't know, just hit it so hard in the spin. So I have had to work a little harder now.
That's great. I'm curious if you guys could share how you first met.
Oh yes, we love this
Our favorite story.
It is. Do you want to share it or do you want me to?
I love it. You give the details a lot
Yeah,
better than I do.
Christian does not do well with the details, and I'm like so one for details. It was so funny. Like it was our first dinner with his parents, and his mom like mentioned that she had never heard how we had first met, and I was like, "Are you kidding me, Christian? Because this is like my favorite story." But it's kind of funny. I was actually at the beach with a lot of my girlfriends, and Christian's family lives at the place in Florida that my friends go on vacation to the beach, and so. Kind of backstory, my sister had known Christian for a few years from going to this same spot. And so I knew of him, but we had never met or anything or never talked to each other. And
I would always tell her younger sister to please tell Sadie that I think she's awesome.
And she never did, of course.
Which she never did.
Thank you, Bella. And so, you know what? God's timing's perfect because it wouldn't have worked anyways. But Christian had a couple cousins, girl cousins and stuff like that too. So there was kind of a big squad of them. And so my friends were at the beach and I was actually dating somebody and I broke up with this guy the day before me and Christian met, not because I knew I was going to meet him.
Stop.
We happened to break up. Yes, like 100%. It was like a natural thing. He happened to be there too. We broke up. And then that night I do this video with my friends. Like they literally videoed me saying it because they wanted me to like hold to it. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm not going to date anybody for a while. Like I just need to like be with myself, like all this stuff. I did this power video. And then the next day, Christian's cousin texted or Instagram messaged me. I shouldn't have it over. She Instagram messaged me and said, "Hey, I see you're down here at the beach. I would love to hang out with you. You know, I know your sister." And I was like, "Oh yeah, come on, girl. Like we're going crab hunting tonight," which,
Wow.
crab hunting, not like intense crab hunting, like we have a net and we're chasing sand crabs and then we just throw them back, but with a flashlight. And she
I have no idea what the difference between normal crab hunting and intense crab hunting is, but we'll roll with it.
I've never heard of crab hunting.
I would imagine the intense crab hunters have like the headlamps and they're like legit.
You know those like TV shows you see with like all the people on the boat and like falling out of the water trying to catch that's not
Okay.
We have a little sand net and we're catching sand crabs maybe if we can run fast enough. So They say, yeah, we would love to come. And she brings Christian. And I'm not kidding. Like my friends can tell you this is the truest thing. As soon as I saw him, I looked at them and I said, delete the video. Because I just knew when I saw him, I was like, he's too cute. Like, we are totally going to date.
Wow.
And then they looked at me and they're like, no, like, seriously. Like, we had this little powwow right before we even, like, kind of came all together. Like, you said this, you need this. So I pretty much avoided Christian the whole night. And at the end of the night, he came up to me and he said, hey, you follow everybody else in my family but me on Instagram. And I was like, really?
Which I don't remember saying that.
I got this little like DM and I was like, dang, like that was so fast. I don't know how he even DM'd me that fast. And then like whenever I clicked on it, I realized that his message he had sent me was actually from 2 years ago that I never saw.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what started our whole relationship. So it's a cool story. There's a lot of like hits and misses and just like perfect little timely things for us to meet. And then of course we just started talking and then really just never stopped. We didn't really
went on our first date, I think 2 months after that in Nashville.
Yeah.
And then
they just kind of started dating.
We just fell in love.
It's kind of funny, people a lot of times have like a day that they started dating, and I don't know that we really have a day. We just kind of like organically from that moment kept talking, and then eventually he came to Nashville. We went on a date, and then just kept dating, and then he asked me to marry him like 7 months later. So
dang. Christian, I'm curious from your side. It doesn't sound like you were messing around. Like from the get-go, it sounded like you were trying to date Sadie.
Yeah, well, so it's funny because actually the night that we were all crab hunting, she had 3 of her friends with her, and I like didn't want to seem desperate for an hour on the beach. So I like was trying to like split my time like by walking next to her and then also walking next to her friends. That way I didn't come off as like super pushy, I guess, in a sense.
And here I am thinking like, shoot, he's totally gonna date my friend because like they're all pretty. And I was like, oh dang.
So she's avoiding me and I'm avoiding her because I'm playing it cool, which internally I was not playing it cool at all. And then after, that was when I said the comment, I guess, that she follows everyone in my family on Instagram but me. I really don't remember saying that, but I guess I did.
We didn't have like a combined birthday party yet, just kind of as a joke. And that's when he ended up proposing to me.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I guess both of us as couples share one thing in common, and that's that our first date was in Nashville. So a lot of good things happening in Nash Vegas these days.
What was the big first date?
Christian, you planned it?
Yeah, so the first date we went to this restaurant, and it's called Tupelo Honey. Didn't we go to 12 South after that?
We went 12 South.
Yeah, we went shopping around.
Then we had a progressive date.
We had a progressive
did Top Golf.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
he drove like 4 hours to Nashville because he goes to Auburn, and so we had to make it really count.
And then we went to Top Golf. And then, which is it's funny, that night we had a date planned, and my brother goes to Vanderbilt, and her sister was in town with her mom at the time, and her sister and my younger brother were calling me asking if they could come on our first date, on our date that night, and I like did not want them to come at all, but I thought that Sadie would think it was so sweet if I like was inviting and like said, yes, of course y'all can come, but she did not want them to come, and I did not know that. So
Kristen told her they could come, and they like show up to our dinner, and I was like looking at Bella. I was so mad at her. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
But I thought she was gonna think it was so sweet because I was such like an inviting gentleman. Yeah, but it was not good because me and my brother, when we get together, we can kind of bicker and argue, and I guess me and Sadie did not talk much that night.
We did not talk.
Because me and Terrence were talking.
Kind of a film.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so Christian, I was reading up on you. I'm really impressed. First of all, you guys are both young, and I don't know if you guys get a lot of feedback like that, like, oh, you guys are so young to be married. But Shawn and I got married when we were, what were we, 24?
23.
23?
Yeah.
Have you guys had a lot of that feedback that, wow, you guys are so young to be getting married?
Kind of. When we first started talking about getting married last March, and my parents were, kind of thought we were too young and wanted me to graduate college before we got married. I think just some other people kind of thought that we were a little too young, I guess, in a sense, but everyone in her family got married at 18 or 19. So, I mean, when we were 21 or 22, to them,
I was like the old one.
that was the old one.
And I think what's crazy to me is it was actually not as many people we were close to, but it would be like random people. Like, I'll never forget, like in the airport. I mean, this woman was like, and the security, she's like, wow, your ring is so beautiful. And I was like, wow, thank you. That's so sweet. She's like, yeah, but you're way too young to get married. And I was like, whoa, okay, sorry. Like people just that you don't know and you didn't expect. That was the things that was the most shocking. Just the opinions of people online or those kind of things, but also a ton of people that were supportive, and just seeing my family walk through it and seeing the beautiful side of getting married young, it didn't make us afraid to step into that.
I'm curious your guys' opinion of that though, because I remember it was the same for us. Our family was supportive, our friends were supportive. It's always the outside world. Why do you think people put such, I don't know, like intimidation and anxiety on young people to get married, even though you find your person and you're like, I'm going to make this work and I want to marry this person? Mm-hmm. Why are people encouraging, the generations to get married later?
For sure. I think that one thing probably, if I had to guess, is just when you look at the world as a whole, and if you don't have a Christian biblical point of like God created marriage and what it's for and the beautiful purpose of it, and you're looking at it from a worldly viewpoint, then you see a lot of hard things. I mean, the divorce rate is so high, and just the things that I think a lot of people from the world think, man, that's limiting you, or you don't know what you don't know yet, and all of those different things. And especially if people think that you're young and you're dumb and different things. But I think whenever you walk with the Lord, it's such a different walk, because you're walking with this intentionality to pursue something that God created to be so beautiful. And of course, you're using wisdom, you're using discernment. You want to find somebody who's going to better your life and who's going to make you better and stronger and wiser. And when you find that person that you can trust, man, we know we don't have all the answers. We know we don't have it all figured out, but we're committed to learning together and growing together. And the central focus of this marriage is God. Then I think that's a totally different thing you're walking in than a worldly viewpoint of maybe what people have seen, felt, experienced when it comes to marriage. I think when you're coming from a family of faith or a family that has seen marriage work or knows the importance of marriage or sees the beauty of marriage, even in some of the hard things, then you're like, oh man, this is great. And they can help you through those hard times and get you to the right counseling and talk to you through the hard things, but also encourage the good things in marriage. Then you don't have to listen to the world, but it doesn't mean the world's not going to comment based off of their perspective and what they've seen and felt. But that's just my 2 cents from what I've gathered.
Preach, Sadie.
Because there is a lot of commentary and it is pretty crazy. I think my brother and Mary Kate went through it before I did. They were 19 and 20 or 18 and 19, something like that. And they got it a lot. And watching them walk through it, we were kind of a little bit more prepared for those outsider comments. But just trying to have compassion for where they're at. I do think people are just seeing things that are hard and maybe haven't experienced what God's original design was for that.
Yeah. And we also realized that like we had so many conversations just on like how much better that we think that we make one another when we're together. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why would we want to wait another year or two just until we, in the world sense of view that we're quote old enough to get married? But it's like, if we know now that, you make me better, I feel like I make you better, we make one another better. Like, why would we want to wait, a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, like until we're that age to get married? We're like, we're going to do it now if we're trusting God and if ultimately, he brought us together and our story is as crazy as it is. And, we're going to pursue him before we pursue each other. And we have wise counsel around us that can speak into us. And, I also think that we weren't naive too, in a sense of like, we know that we're young and getting married, but we also know that we are God's and that we, ultimately
have a good support system.
Yeah. Have a good support system and ultimately respond to him. And, so it was just really cool, like just getting to see that firsthand.
So being newlyweds, I remember our first year of marriage was always, it's just this interesting time of trying to figure each other out. Going from, I feel like, dating to engagement to marriage, there's so many new things that you're trying to learn about one another, how you live in a house together, how you do all of this stuff. What's been the hardest transition for you guys so far?
Man, great question.
Waking up in the morning.
So Christian used to be like an early riser, get up, get it done type person. I, get up, get it done, but getting up is like more around 10 o'clock for me, 9:30. I'm like, once I'm going to get it done. But I just got to get up first. Christian is always like kind of popped up. Well, when we got married, I kind of rubbed off on him. And now he's like, oh my gosh, how did I sleep till 10? And I'm like, man, this is like my usual. And so it's kind of funny. Those things have been different. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to have to try going to bed earlier. So trying to figure out our little routine like that has been funny.
It was actually so funny. Last night we were watching Shark Tank and it was like midnight. And I was like, we probably need to go to bed soon because we have that podcast in the morning. And then they said the podcast is at noon. And I was like, yeah, well, if you wake up at 10, that's the morning.
That's funny. I was say, not to rush you guys into kids, but that'll all change. I was the late riser. I think we go to bed at 7:30 now.
And we wake up at 4:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
My gosh, I know y'all. I have been loving, by the way, watching y'all's little family grow. It has been awesome. I love following y'all on Instagram, and it is funny. That's why I tell Christian though, I'm like, one day this is not going to be the case, and so I have to just soak in it while I can. Yes.
Wow.
Now my siblings have kids, and I see the early rise struggle. So I gotta get my while I can.
Did you know my dad every year for Christmas used to put books about water and the importance of hydration in our stockings?
I kind of figured because I'm starting to get them in my stockings now.
It's a big deal in our family. Believe it or not, a lot of people end up more dehydrated in the winter months. Can you believe that? That's a shock. Cold weather actually makes dehydration harder to spot, and so you're less likely to continue to refill your water bottles. But thankfully, we found Liquid IV, which is the fastest, most efficient way to stay hydrated.
For all of you listening, let me just say that Andrew literally drinks at least one of these a day. He's always got a pack at his office desk or in his studio or next to his bedside table.
I love Liquid IV, and a few weeks ago, they sent me a package with a new flavor, which I was pumped about.
I'm just happy that it has clean ingredients. It's non-GMO, vegan, and free of gluten, dairy, and soy.
So I'm a big fan of taking Liquid IVs right before and after a workout. Liquid IVs provide the same hydration as drinking 2 to 3 bottles of water.
Incredible.
It fuels the tough workouts that I do, and it helps prevent muscle fatigue. And then it also promotes healthy post-workout recovery. It contains 5 essential vitamins and more vitamin C than an orange and as much potassium as a banana.
It's so much healthier than those traditional sugary sports drinks. There's no artificial flavors or preservatives.
So you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code EASTFAM at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order on Liquid IV's website. Just go to liquidiv.com and enter promo code EASTFAM to save 25% and get better hydration. Again, that's liquidiv.com, promo code EASTFAM. Don't wait. Start properly hydrating today. Things are kind of crazy these days. And if you are dealing with stress and anxiety throughout your day and find yourself on your phone constantly, stop checking social media and pop open the Abide app to ease your mind.
Yes, Abide is the #1 Christian meditation app. Abide users report less stress, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and get better sleep.
Which is so relevant right now. So you can start your day with Abide's daily meditation, which is based on biblical scripture, and these audio meditations will center you and draw you closer to Christ.
And for a limited time, our listeners will get 25% off a premium subscription when you visit abide.co/eastfam.
Abide's meditations start at 2 minutes long. They're easy to fit in your schedule and feature topics like overcoming anxiety, managing stress, addiction and recovery, finding forgiveness, and more.
Get started now with 25% off a premium subscription by downloading the Abide app at abide.co/eastfam. You'll get additional stories and meditations, premium music, soothing sounds, and more. Support this show and get 25% off by going to abide.co/eastfam. That's abide.co/eastfam to download the Abide app and get 25% off your premium subscription.
You guys verbalize the whole young marriage thing so well. I'm so impressed by both of you. And one of my mentors told me, and I think it touches on what you were speaking about, that the only thing that matters when you're looking for a spouse, you guys may or may not agree with this, is their heart for you and their heart for the Lord, and everything else is style, and style can change. And so I think based off what I know about you guys, and Christian, you said I was reading a People article and it said that you were kind of pursuing Sadie for a little bit, and you said the intention of me calling you and talking with you is so that I can take you out on a date. I'm curious that perspective and that intentionality, is that something that's in your family, or is that something that you've like practiced? Can you talk about that? Because I think that's rare, but I think it's so valuable.
Yeah. So I think really just because, throughout just high school, like I did not have the right view in a sense on relationships. And I just, just messed some things up that I kind of wish that, hindsight, that I wish that I just kind of did some things differently than when I got to college and I really met Jesus and I kind of turned my life around. And that was when I started really just, spending time with the Lord and reading podcasts and books. And I really think Ben Stewart's Single Dating Engaged Married series really just kind of hit me, and that really just honoring women and like what it looks like to pursue, a godly woman with intentionality and with just a strong pursuit, just because, you want to guard her heart and you want to guard your own heart and you want to guard her heart. And ultimately, just because, like I said earlier, we all, we're all God's and we're all his children. And, I don't want to disrespect his daughter. And so really just with Sadie, when we first started talking, we first started dating, it was just so like clear and it was so like just natural. And it was funny because when we first started talking, we were Instagram DMing for like 2 weeks, and then I did not know how to get her number. So I asked her if I could send her a few podcasts, but I couldn't send it over Instagram. So I asked for her number. And that was when I sent her the Ben Stewart's Single Dating Engaged Married
His
series.
first text to me was,
Dang, bro.
Married. I was like, whoa. That was but
I like it.
I know, right? It really set us
Another
up for
bold
success.
move.
But I ended up getting the book too whenever he sent me that, and he was reading it, and it was really funny because as I was reading along, I was seeing like everything Christian was doing, like I was seeing all of his actions as I was reading the pages. So I knew obviously he's learning from this book. But I actually found that so cool because, there's a lot of people that read the Bible, but there's not unfortunately, not everybody really applies the Bible. They don't put the words into action. And I mean, even just seeing his pursuit, reading this book that was so God-centered and so to honor women and how to date. And then he was actually applying it to his life and how he was living. I was like, man, that's really cool because that just shows that you learn, that you seek wisdom and that you actually learn wisdom. And I thought that was really cool. And he really did. Like, I mean, that book, we followed that, like single, dating, engaged, married. And that really helped us through the whole process. So I think sometimes, you might not have a mentor in your life. I think if we hear that from a lot of people. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a person to watch. And that is really hard. And there is a lot of empathy and sympathy for that. But then there's also so many books, so many podcasts, so many Christian leaders who are posting so many things on YouTube that you can kind of let them be your mentor. And Ben Stewart was like a great one for us.
I think that's beautiful. I think for me, and just now having a daughter, I think there should be more men who are that forward in saying, my intention is marriage. And I'm, if we don't mesh that way, then we're going to go separate ways. I think there's too many just people out there who are dating to date with no intention.
Yep.
And there's no purpose with that. And I think I like it. Good job, Christian.
Thank you. Yeah, we established that really early on. That was like when we first started. I think when we went on our first date after that was when we had our conversation and we were both like, hey, look, like, I really like you. I really see this going somewhere and I want to be respectful to you and just wanting to let you know like what my intentions are. Then we really just set some clear boundaries and real good expectations of what we wanted this to be. Just because that's so in so many relationships. I mean, I think that if you don't, I think if you put expectations on the other person to try to live up to X, Y, and Z, then ultimately that person is not going to meet those standards. And I think really just communicating well with one another and setting clear expectations on what you're wanting.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it when you said a lot of people just date to date. And I think like, for me, I'm such an advocate for like, no, you have to set your intentions because there's really no time to waste. Like we have one life, you have a certain amount of time. And I think about some of the people I dated and we dated for a long time with really no intention. We were just dating and you look back and each one of those causes heartbreak. Each one of those causes some kind of baggage in one way or another or something you have to work through. And there are certainly amazing things to dating different people and learning things about them and learning what you like, learning how you are. But if you're not guarding your heart in that and having some sort of intention in that relationship, and hopefully the intention is maybe we're going to get married, and when you realize it's not getting out, then you do begin to not waste time in a sense, oh, you're going to regret it because you shouldn't regret it, but you are wasting time in the midst of that if you know this is not the person I'm supposed to be with.
Wow. Those are great words. That's gold right
Can
there.
you mentor our daughter, Sadie?
I just whispered. I said that was really good.
Yeah.
So you guys definitely did go through the whole process with intention. It sounded like you dated for about a year, then you got engaged last June. The whole engagement was epic, by the way. For those of you listening that want to learn more, we'll link there's like so many fun videos and articles written about it that you should definitely check out. And then I also want to link, I'm going to find the Ben Stewart Single Dating and Marriage.
Yes,
we'll link that down below too. But got engaged last June, and then it was a pretty short engagement. Was it 5 or 6 months that you were engaged?
Yeah, about 5.5 months. It was really short. We were like, we did not want to have a long engagement.
I think that's awesome.
Yes, it was awesome, honestly. And, you know, it was kind of funny because Christian's in college. And then his brother plays baseball in college. And so their timeline was pretty hard to try to get a wedding that Christian, it was good for him and good for a chance to be there as his best man. And so we were like, why don't we just do a Thanksgiving break? And so we did. And it was awesome.
That's cool. I think it's interesting. You find all these couples who get engaged and they're engaged for years. And I personally found engagement to be just awkward because you're not married, but you're by the world standards more than dating. It's just such this weird time where I think the shorter the engagement, the better.
I would agree with that totally. I mean, the engagement is awkward. It's kind of like, even because we were long distance the whole time we were dating, and of course we had to be long distance whenever we were engaged because you can't, like, we didn't want to move in until we're married, and just with what we believe and our morals and stuff. And so there was just a lot of like, okay, well, we're still long distance and we're still just dating, but we're more than that. We're about to get married, and it was definitely weird.
Oh yes.
Yeah. You mentioned Christian, your younger brother, plays baseball at Vanderbilt. I'm a fellow Commodore. I played football there, so shout out to the Vandy Athletics. Yeah, that's right, baby. I love that. I don't know how you guys planned a wedding in 5.5 months that had 600 guests, though. 600 guests.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
That's a party.
It was a party. It just kept growing, and it was kind of funny. I always said I really wanted my people to be there, and then, you know, we have a huge family, a lot of friends all over. Christian has a huge family, a lot of friends, and, you know, his family's from Florida. Mine's from Louisiana. He went to Auburn. I've lived in Nashville for 4 years. I lived in LA for a time. So we just had so many different places. And the funniest part of having that many people at the wedding was the friendships that formed from like our friends from all over. Like the pictures that we saw, we were like, what are they doing with them? Like it was so it was
we had the same thing at our wedding. We actually had a couple of couples stem from our wedding that were mixed matched between different friendships and families. It was really, I did the same thing. I saw a picture of two of them together. I was like, wait, what? How did this happen?
Awesome. Yeah, we were like laughing so hard. And apparently, see, ours went the other way. We had two couples break up after our wedding. And we were like, why? And they were like, we just realized after y'all said y'all's vows, that just wasn't us. I was like,
wow.
Oh my God.
That's good though. Like that's still good.
It is
That's
really
intention.
like relive your wedding with different people from different perspectives and who they met and how much fun. I mean, it's been so fun. We're still talking. We'll probably forever be talking about it with people. It's been fun.
Okay, Sadie, you just did this incredible thing on Instagram. You posted a photo asking brides to reach out. Everyone's being affected right now. Where did that come from, stem from? I thought it was a really beautiful thing.
Well, it's crazy. I did not know we were about to start like a movement. Because, you know, I mean, to be honest, I just thought of it because my Christian and I have these friends and they're getting married in early May, and it's supposed to be at the beach. Well, the beach, of course, is closed until April the 30th as of now. And then, you know, it might get pushed back even further and whatnot. And so we just decided to have them over, sit with them, talk to them, listen. And it was just so sad, you know, just thinking about how much we loved our wedding and how excited we were and the planning and different things, and then seeing where they're at and having to go through. So actually I heard her say all that. The next day I was on Instagram and one of my other friends posted, I have to cancel my wedding. So sad. And I was like, man, I know two people that this has happened to. I'm sure it's happened to more. But when I was thinking more, I was thinking like 100 or like maybe 500.
We talked and we were like, we're guessing like 50 to 100.
Like, I don't know why I was just not like, I just totally miscounted in my head because I was just thinking like, how many people who are actually getting married in the next 2 months actually, or 3 months, follow me on Instagram, whatever. Well, a lot apparently, because I do this thing and I'm like, I want to send something. And in my mind, I was going to write a note to each person and I was going to send the gift that I was going to order. Yeah, like legit. And
You
then
had like slippers on Amazon.
I was
that.
like bride slip. Like I was like going to personally order all these things because I was just thinking it was going to be 100 or so. Well, no, we had 40,000 comments. 22,000 people went online to fill out a form. This is just in one day. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I called my team and my mom's team, and I was like, I need like full-time help right now because I really actually want to do this because my heart is still the same. I want these brides to know that they're seen, that they have somebody else who's celebrating them, that day is a special day and it's worth being recognized and celebrated. And so what are we going to do? And so my team and I, since yesterday, has been working on something, and we're still going to be able to send something. We're going to send something to 5,000, but we ended up starting a support group and doing a bridal workshop for brides to do together on my like online subscription thing, but we gave it to all the brides for free. And it's been so cool. Oh my gosh. In the past day, I've just been reading all these things, and all the brides are posting their engagement pictures and telling about their day, and all these other brides are like with them and supporting them. So it has been beautiful. Didn't expect it to go like this, but like, I just feel so thankful that we're able to help in some way and then just connect people, because I think the hardest thing about this quarantine, besides the actual sickness, obviously, but the hard thing is like the loneliness that people are experiencing. And, you know, we're so isolated right now that you start to think like your problems are just your own problems and you can't relate. And then it's different things. You can't talk to somebody. And so being able to connect online is really beautiful, and especially connect people who are walking through the same struggle. So it's been crazy, but it has been just such a beautiful thing. And I'm just thankful to be like a small part of what all of these brides are really doing for each other. It's been awesome.
It's such a beautiful use of social media. Well done, both of you guys. Sadie, you recently released a book called Live. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I released a book about a month ago, I guess now. It's crazy. And yeah, it's called Live. It's the subtitle is Have an Exciting and Fulfilling Life. And it's kind of funny because now, you know, we're in this time where we have to be at home. We have to be still for a minute. But I think this book is honestly really speaking to the time right now. I wrote it because I felt like people didn't really think that their life had value who are my age. And that kind of comes from the suicide rate being as high as it is right now. And honestly, when I felt the need to write a book about this, I was so intimidated because I was like, I do not know how to speak to that. I'm not a counselor. I'm not wise enough. I'm not the therapist. I'm not going to say the right thing. And that holds so much weight. But then I just thought about, you know, there's a lot of people who are going through that, who aren't going to a counselor, who aren't going to somebody yet, and they just need like a good friend. And I know how to do that. I know how to be a good friend, I know how to love people and speak life over them. And so just kind of wrote a book from the perspective of like, your life really matters. It has value, it has meaning. And here's what the Bible talks about when it talks about the path of life and the path of death. And I kind of walked through what those two paths clearly look like and what it feels like when you turn to God and you walk on this path in like very practical ways, and what it really looks like and feels like when you're walking down this path of death, which would just be like the lies that you're feeding yourself and ultimately getting to a really hard place. But with a heavy topic, we made it super fun. I actually ended up making a picture book because I'm like not the best reader in the world, which is ironic because I write books and I actually do love books. But I like when I was little, of course, like you just love picture books. It just keeps you going. You feel like you're rewarded whenever you get to a page. And so we made the book kind of come to life and did it more like blog style. So there's like 30 or so mini blogs with pictures instead of like 10 long chapters. So it was a cool way of writing it, and I think a message that will really speak to a lot of people and hopefully just get them to the place of knowing that their life has a purpose and has value and has meaning. And here's what the Bible says about getting on that path towards Jesus.
I love, we've actually had that same kind of struggle. And I feel like a lot of people go through that where, like you were saying, you're not a counselor, you're not a therapist. And as we were so excited to do this show because I feel like there's a lot of people, you know, that love The Bachelor and that they're interested in relationships and how people are doing it these days. And so Shawn and I wanted to like help be a positive voice in that field, but we've hit this kind of realization that wait, we're not couples therapists, and I don't know if us giving advice is actually the best thing to do, but I love how you stepped forward and said, hey, well, what I know I can do is be a friend. And so you didn't get caught up on like the nitty gritty of it. You just did what you knew you could do, and you took a step forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a lot of people go through that. Like y'all said and what I said, you start to like say like, okay, I'm really not really qualified for this. And you know, if you think about the Bible, it talks about the enemy, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I think one of the ways in doing that is like stealing your influence and your voice, saying like, oh, that's not really that powerful. You're not the smartest person, you're not the wisest person. It's not really helping, but you are really helping. Like if you speak, the Bible also says your tongue holds the power of life and death. And so speaking words out that matter to people activate life in people. And a lot of times people just need an example. They need a friend. They need somebody to say, I love you, or even say I love you to another person that they're inspired by or influenced by. And it is amazing. Some of the like simplest things that I'll post like get the most response from people because it's just somebody that just needed a little bit of encouragement. And I think what y'all are doing is so amazing, because even if you didn't say like one specific piece of advice, the example of y'all's marriage and y'all's relationship and y'all's like parenting and walking through some of the really vulnerable things y'all walk through and even trying to get pregnant is reaching the world in such a powerful way that it wouldn't be if y'all kept silent. And so I just thank y'all for sharing y'all's life and not letting that dequalification, make y'all stop, because it's awesome.
Well, speaking of parenting, Sadie.
Yeah. I mean, I think this one's more for Christian, because this was the big leap. Okay. Christian, you became a father. Do you want to talk about,
I'm a doggy.
do you want to talk about Cabo?
Yeah. Ask Christian for sure about that one, because it was all him.
Oh.
So it all kind of started with, I was Christmas shopping, and I was on Amazon, like looking at the stocking stuffer section or whatever. And there was this one little thing, because Sadie always said that, or always said, she was saying that she didn't think we could get a dog because she just didn't think that she would be responsible enough with different aspects of the dog.
Well, just because I travel so much, I didn't see, I'm in the airport, not now obviously, but before this whole thing, every week going somewhere. And so I just didn't see how a dog fit into this equation.
So I thought it was funny. There was this gift, and it was like a little, kind of magnet thing that you'd put on a board or whatever. And it had like, did you feed the dog today? And like an AM and a PM, and you kind of like check it, So I got that, just kind of thinking it was funny and not really thinking much of it. And then I gave it to Sadie for Christmas, and she thought that I gave it to her, and she was expecting like a dog.
I looked at him so blank. I was like, did you give me a dog? I was like, where's the dog?
But I was like, no, I didn't even think of it. I just kind of thought it was funny and random and just funny to put in a stocking. So then like a month later, she was seeing the way that I was playing with her dad's dog. Cause I just love dogs. I was playing fetch with it. They're so cute. And then, so then Sadie started like looking just kind of for fun. Secretively. And then she saw this one dog it was like from a pet land in Dallas. And we were like, okay, that's the cutest dog we've ever seen. So then, we like prayed about it for like a week.
I was like, why are we praying about this? This is like the craziest.
the most
I know. I was like, Lord, don't even judge me for praying about getting a dog.
But then we finally hit the realization of like, because we were kind of saying like maybe in a year when we start settling down, let's get a dog. But then we were like, as busy as life is right now, why don't we just throw a dog into the mix? That way she just kind of like, not necessarily adds to the craziness, but just kind of is in it with us. Because when we settle down, why do we want to get a puppy? Then she's just crazy when we're finally trying to settle down. So then like a week later, we called, and of course I negotiated with the lady at Petland and
nice.
really kind of swayed her to kind of, give it the dog. And then we got her, and she has been she's awesome. Cutest thing.
She's crazy, but she's
she's locked up in the crate downstairs right now.
She's yelling at us, but I hope y'all can't hear her.
No.
So this fall, people can see Sadie, Christian, and maybe Cabo as well, because you guys are going on tour, right?
We are. We're going on tour. Christian just said yesterday, he was like, who will be a great tour dog? Cabo. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. It's a little bit crazy. But
She
yeah,
sleeps in the car.
you can definitely see me and Christian on tour on our Live Original tour, and we have an awesome band coming out with us that we're so excited about that we haven't announced yet. But we are really excited. Last year we took off tour because obviously we got married. And so it's going to be so fun to be back and have Christian and these other people coming out with us. I am so excited.
We're really excited for you guys. Okay, we have one more question. It's like the big question.
Alrighty.
I have to have you guys choose who wants to go first, though, without knowing the question.
Oh, dear.
Is it a question about kids?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
No, it's not, Christian.
Yes, I'll go
Okay,
first.
you go first.
Okay, Christian, I want you to tell us what you love about Sadie.
That is a great question. So I love how Sadie's always so just energetic and positive. And what's so cool about Sadie is she really sees the best in everyone that she meets. And she also doesn't show partiality. Like if she sees someone in her family, she'll love them just as well as she'll love, someone that's checking us out at a restaurant, or someone that's, just if we're ordering food somewhere, she's just as nice to the cashier as she is to someone in our family. And she's just radiant. She's so beautiful. No, it's true. But she really is people are just so gravitated toward her because I think she's just had such such an influence and such a call in her life, and it's just so cool to see just the way that she loves people.
Hey, that is
I can hear your smiles through the microphone. It makes me so happy.
Okay, Sadie, what do you love most about Christian?
Aw, Christian. That was the nicest thing ever. But I love this about you, and I tell him this all the time, but he's the most consistent person ever. It doesn't matter where we are. It's kind of like he said about partiality, but it doesn't matter what room we walk in, what place we walk in. He is Christian Huff 100%. And that was one of the things that I loved about him when we were dating, just his confidence in who he is, because a lot of guys, especially this young, don't know who they are, and he so knows who he is that he's the same person every day and everywhere. And the other thing is you're really funny and make me laugh a lot, but he's really introverted in front of other people, but he's hilarious to me and whenever we're in private. And I just love how we share something that I don't think we share, well, I know we don't share with anybody else in the world, and it's just really sweet. He's also the most loyal person in the world. And I don't know if y'all do the Enneagram, but coming from a 6, all of my big thing is I want trustworthy, I want loyalty, but just that consistency is so loyal and so sweet, and he's just the best. I love our marriage and I love our friendship, and it's just awesome.
That's awesome.
I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with us today. I feel like there's a lot of parallels between our relationships beyond just the first day being in Nashville, but Christian, Shawn and Sadie were both, I feel in the limelight from a young age, and I'm sure you guys have experienced the unique challenges and benefits that come from that. There's a little bit of both, but I feel we could talk much longer, but we do appreciate you guys joining us today, and thank you for being such a great role model to the people out there who are listening, and young couples. You guys are both doing so much good. And for those of you listening that you want to find out more about Sadie and Christian, you can find their information down below. But look forward to talking to you guys next time.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Y'all are the best. Thanks for such great questions and just being who y'all are.
Thank y'all.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.